Hello guys, welcome back to the AWS course. This is Tahir, your instructor. So we are here for this. In this session, we'll be doing the practical for IAM service. Okay, so I have logged into the management console and this is the dashboard for the IAM service. So as per the security recommendation, we have root user has MFA. You have MFA, that is I have logged in using the IAM user. So in the beginning of the course, we have created the IAM user, we have created a group and we have assigned the full privileges to that group, and we have also created the user which we added to the newly created group so that we can have full access to the AWS account. This is to protect our the AWS root user. So if root user gets compromised, and then we might lose the access to the entire account. So if we lose the access to the IAM user, that means if IAM user gets compromised, still we will be having the root user which can be used to manage the user to protect our account. Okay, so we have seen how to create the user group and how to attach the policy to that group. Then we have created a user and we have added that user to the group to get the permissions for that user. Okay, so we have a group here and we have the user here. We have created the user and we have enabled the multi-factor authentication for the IAM user. Now we'll see what are the policies here. So I have, while I was creating the IAM user group, I have shown you the different policies. So if we see here, by default there are 1065 AWS defined policies. Okay, so these policies are specific for a particular service. So if we say that S3 policy, then it is going to list out all the S3 policies like S3 full access, read-only access, outpost full access, S3 bucket service, S3 storage lanes, etc. So like this, we will be having different policies. Okay. Now, these policies, as I said, they are nothing but they are in the JSON syntax. Okay, they follow the JSON syntax. It has basically important three elements, that is effect. Either it is going to specify allow or deny. So since by default every user is user or role or group, they do not have any permission, all permissions are denied, then we can specify allow. And we can, in the section in the action part, that is for the action element, we can specify what type of operations we can specify. Okay, we can specify the operations, and coming to the resources, we can specify what are the resources that on which the permissions are applicable. Okay, so this is the policy. We can create our own policy or we can use the existing policies. Coming to the roles, these roles are sometimes what happens is that for particular services, automatically the AWS will create a role if we will be using some managed services, like for auto scaling or backup or load balancing. Sometimes it is going to create a service. Okay, so it is going to create a role so that it can access the resources, or it can give access to the what we say, it will give access to the resources. So the like elastic load balancing. The elastic load balancing will be getting access to or it will be getting granted permission to access other resources. So this way the role will be created, and we can create our own roles as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the I have an instance running, and I have connected to that instance, and here I'm going to show accessing the AWS CLI. So if I type AWS --version, so by default, easy to AWS provides or installs the AWS CLI in the instance. It automatically installs the AWS CLI in every instance so that we can directly access them. No need to explicitly install them. For that, we need to in our system, if we want to access from our laptop, then we need to install AWS CLI in our laptop. So I'm accessing the AWS CLI using the from the instance, so it is already installed. So when I run the command AWS -version, it is going to give me the version. Okay, now when I type AWS S3 LS, that is I'm trying to list out the S3 buckets. Okay, so it is going to give me that you can unable to locate credentials. We are unable to locate the credentials. In order to get the credentials, okay, we need to configure the credentials by running the AWS configure. Okay, so if I type AWS configure, then it is going to ask me for access key. Now from where to get the access key? For the user or the root user, we can create the access keys. So what I'm going to do, I am going to quickly navigate to the users and click on the user, okay, to open its details, and I'm going to click on security credentials. This security credential, in this we will be having console sign-in, multi-factor authentication. Below that we will have the access keys. I'm going to create a access key, and I need to specify for what I need to create the access key. I want to create the access key for command line interface. Now I'm going to click next. I need to confirm here that I understand the recommendations before proceeding. Okay, select that checkbox and click next. I need to give give a tag description. That is optional. I'm not going to give anything, and I'm going to click on create access key. Now this is going to create an access key. This access key, you will be having the access key and the secret access key. Okay, so actually it is a alphanumeric number and it is not easy to remember. So you can actually save it by clicking the download.csv file, or you can just memorize or store it. Actually, the best practice is never to store your access key in plain text in a code repository or in the code, or disable or delete access key when no longer needed, or enable least privilege permission to the user for which we are creating the access keys, and always rotate access keys regularly so that one access key is not used for a longer time, so that if your access key gets compromised, that is someone gets access to that file, then if you're using it for a longer time, then they will actually get access to your account. Okay, so instead of that, you can keep on rotating, that is changing the access key. So I'm going to copy the access key here and I'm going to paste it here and press enter. Now it is going to ask me the access secret key. I'm going to copy the secret access key and I'm going to paste it here, and I have to give the default region. So I am into US East 1, that is in North Virginia region. Okay, the output format, I'm going to skip it. I want the default one. So the access key is the access to the AWS is now created. Okay. Now, if I say AWS S3 LS, I have a bucket here. Now I'm getting, I can list out all the buckets that are created in this. Now, if there is any file in the S3 bucket, I can also list out AWS S3 LS. I have to give S3 :/ and give the bucket name. It is going to list out the files that are in the bucket. Okay. Now, there is something that I want to show. If I say ls-a, we have .as directory. So I'm going to navigate into that .aws directory, and I'm going to list out the files and directories in it. I have this file called as credentials. When I when I see the content of the file credentials, okay, it is having the access key and the secret access key. It stores the access key and secret access key. If I give access to somehow this AWS instance, this EC2 instance get accessed by some other person, then they can easily get the access key. Then using this access key, they can log in into my account using the AWS CLI. And using the AWS CLI, they can change many things in my account. So my account will get compromised. For that reason, what we need to do is that best practice is not to store. So I'm going to remove the credentials file. Now, if I run AWS S3 LS, it is not going to show me anything. It is going to say unable to locate credentials. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the role. Okay. So here I'm going to create the role here. So I'll click on navigate to the roles and choose create role. I'm going to choose what are the trusted entity types that I want to use. I'm going to use for AWS service. Okay. So what is the use case? Common use case for whom I want to use this role. So I'll say for EC2. If you want to choose from others, you can choose from here. Then click next to proceed and give here the permissions. So I'm going to say S3 read only. So I have this Amazon S3 read only access. So it is going to let me to read only the that is allow me to get the list or copy it or list the objects or the buckets in the S3. Okay. I'm going to select this permission and click next. And I'm going to give a role. So S3 read only for EC2 instance. So here are the trusted entities as EC2 instance, effect, S3, assume role. Okay. We have added the permission. Now click on create role. So the role is being created. The role is created now. So we have here S3 read only EC2. Okay, this role. Okay, now we can assign this role to the instance. So I'll quickly jump to the EC2 instance, EC2 service, and from there I will go to instances. is going to list out the instance. I'm going to select the instance and I'm going to go to the actions, and under security we have modify IAM role. Click on modify IAM role, and here choose the role. I'm going to choose S3 read only EC2 that I have created, and click on update IAM role. Now when we add the role, the AWS will automatically assign those permission to the role. Whenever we attach a role to the instance, automatically it is going to assign the permissions for that role. Now I'll quickly go to the terminal, and now again I'm going to type AWS S3 LS. Now it is going to display the content. So in this way, without actually providing the access key and secret access key, I am getting access to the S3 buckets. So if I want to check more, list the files, the objects in the S3 bucket, text training bucket. So I'll say AWS S3 LS, and I'm going to give the location, that is S3, and I'm going to give the bucket name. Is going to give the list of the file that is available, list the objects that are available in the bucket. So this way what we are doing, we are securely granting permission to a AWS resource. We are granting this permission to the resource so that it can access other resources of AWS. So it is a secure way. If we follow the access key way, then we need to provide the access key, and it will be stored in the credentials file in the .aws directory, which is actually not a best practice. Okay. So now we will quickly go to the user. We will quickly go to the user, IAM user, and we are going to delete that access key. So in the dashboard, now for users, I have the user. I'll click on the user, and then I'll click on the security credentials, and under access key I have this access key created. I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I have to enter the entire access key. First I need to deactivate before I can delete. It's deactivated, then I have to delete it. So my access key is deleted. So in this way, my account is now protected. So that's it for this session, guys. In coming session, we'll see other services. Thank you for joining. Have a nice day.